As an advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, Joe Biden believes that everyone should be able to be treated respectfully without being afraid of who someone is or who they love. Biden is committed in advancing the LGBTQ rights, which includes support for the Equality Act. The Equality Act would modify civil rights legislation to add protections against discrimination based off sexual orientation and gender identity in order to benefit their community. If Biden was elected president, he'd make sure that the Equality Act would be a top legislative priority in his first 100 days in office. Trump and Pence have cut back on critical point protections for the LGBTQ+ community, such as denying them access to critical health care and funding adoption agencies to reject same-sex couples, and many more. Defeating the Trump-Pence administration won't solve this issue, but it is an essential first step in order to resume our march to equality. This is why you should vote for Joe Biden 2020.
Growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus have taken over the world. People have been majorly affected, whether that be health, business, or personal finance. A vaccine is up in the air and giving people a slight feeling of hope in this dark, rough time. Up next, we have an exclusive interview with presidential candidate Joe Biden.
We are seeing the impactful effects of COVID-19 worldwide. If you were elected president, how would you handle things different?
Well, you would definitely see public health decisions being made by public health professionals. If I were president, I would see to it that there would be free COVID testing. And I would eliminate the cost barriers to preventative care and treatment for COVID-19. I want to look out for those that can't look out for themselves.
We have seen businesses crumble under the strain that COVID-19 has caused. People have lost their jobs, their income, and their personal wealth. What would you do about this?
I would definitely pay leave for those affected by the virus. I want to make sure that they're taking care of their families, their businesses. I would also make sure to get resources and relief out the door to families, state and local officials to deal with the challenges that they're facing today.
Incredible. It looks like you know exactly what you want to do and you know what's best for the people.
You're too kind, thank you.
Do you happen to have any experience in situations like this?
Well, yeah. So I was part of the Obama-Biden administration, and we actually helped lead an effective response after the 2014 Ebola pandemic. I also helped lead a response after the Great Depression, and I saw to it that the Recovery Act was implemented. So I have quite a bit of experience in this field, and I'm just hoping that I can help Americans that are struggling, and I can help us for a better future.
Thank you so much for being here and all that you're doing. This concludes our COVID-19 exclusive with Joe Biden.
Climate change is real, and climate change is serious. This is a problem that plagues cities all over America. We can dream of when days were brighter, but the truth is that industrialization has caused our air to reach very unhealthy levels. But if you vote for Biden, he will work endlessly to fix the issue of global climate change. His plan calls for government involvement in increasing research and development. Just a few of the many wonderful things Biden plans to do for our suffering environment are improving America's infrastructure, such as improving roads, buildings, and power lines. His plan also involves technology that can capture carbon before it hits the atmosphere, which will greatly decrease the amount of carbon pollution in our air. His plan also includes promoting energy efficiency in buildings and houses, furthering the manufacturing of electric vehicles, and even improving the efficiency of agriculture. Biden's plan will not only improve our air quality, but also our economy, as his plan to tackle global climate change will create new jobs. Biden doesn't want to make temporary changes, but changes that will last from generation to generation for the betterment in health of the American people.
Hi, this is Jordan Ibalo reporting live from Long Beach, California, and I am here with presidential Democratic candidate Joe Biden in order to talk about this issue of the nomination of the Supreme Court Justice. So Biden, I understand that not long ago, Trump had just nominated Amy Coney Barrett in order to replace former associate of the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. How do you feel about this situation?
Well, I think with everything going on right now, the election, the pandemic, I think Trump should have waited until after the election to get a better representation of the will of the people. You know, the Senate should not be quick to fill vacant seats. There's a time and a place for this, and it's just not the time.
And what would you do if you became president in regards to this issue?
Well, I would first withdraw Trump's nominee and nominate someone new. However, after consulting with Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, asking for their advice, and most importantly, asking for their consent. Trump, as we saw, he rushed this. He did rush that, and it was undutiful to the people. And I have a question. Is this what you want as president?
And as Biden leaves us off with this significant question, this concludes our interview. Thank you. As much as healthcare is important, what is the cost? Biden believes that Americans have the right to access affordable healthcare. He promises to build on the Affordable Care Act by giving Americans more choice, reducing healthcare costs, and making our healthcare system less complex to navigate. So does this mean Obamacare is all sunshine and rainbows? No.
These false promises have their downfalls, such as
Higher taxes for people with higher income.
less employees in companies,
And an increase in premiums.
Do you really want to be charged more by your insurance company? Do you want to pay higher taxes for something that will not even benefit yourself? Do you want to be fired because businesses can't afford to provide health insurance to you anymore? One by one, your coworkers disappear because your businesses can't afford to provide health insurance for everybody. The answer to all these questions is and should be no.
and this is why you should not vote for Biden. Trump supports the public education system to give America's children a brighter future. Trump's acts, such as the Education Freedom Scholarships Act, Opportunity Act, and Administration's School Choice Plan, creates countless opportunities for American students to get scholarships necessary to fund a deeper level of education. He has even made it easier to apply for FAFSA. These scholarship opportunities open gateways to fund students in many areas, such as school transportation, tutoring, internships, and of course, tuition. These acts would also provide access to charter schools and educational styles that would better suit a student's individual needs, rather than that student being subject to attend only one school because of financial circumstances. This plan would especially be a blessing to minority groups to provide their children with better education. Trump appointed $200 million towards science programs. Because of this, many women and minority groups have been able to expand their educational skill set. Over 3 million students have benefited from the acts he put in place for their betterment. For these reasons, you should vote for Trump. I'm here with President Trump, who just hosted the official signing ceremony for the Middle Eastern Peace Initiative. President Trump, can you please elaborate on what the treaty has done?
Well, the peace initiative has allowed Israel and the other Arab nations that have signed on with us to begin cooperating through education, healthcare, trade, security, and they have even agreed to the exchange of embassies and ambassadors.
So how will this affect the well-being of the people in the area?
Well, for starters, the Muslims have increased access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque to pray and visit, which is a very important step in their religion. There is also opportunity for economic growth because of the increased security.
Well, what does this mean for America?
Well, we are rejecting the failed foreign policies of the past, and we are walking with our friends in the Middle East towards a better future.
All right, thank you, Mr. Trump. Back to you in the studio, Karen. America is in danger. Our children are being murdered and ripped from their mothers' wombs from right under our noses. Babies who haven't even had a chance to take a breath or feel the warmth of the sun are dead, dying, murdered. Do you really want to live in a country that promotes the killing of babies by allowing abortion to exist without punishment? Or would you rather live in a country that protects our babies' rights? Our children have a right to equal protections under law that can guarantee life, health, and well-being. Presidential candidate Donald Trump has made it clear that he supports these rights by advocating the banning of abortion, appointing judges who are pro-life, and standing firm on the idea that life begins at conception. He will fight the Roe v. Wade case so that abortion will only be a vulgar, insensitive word, a distant and unpleasant memory, instead of a prevalent plague that is taking over our country. We need to vote someone into office who will protect the American dream of having happy, healthy, baby-filled families. Trump is the president our country needs. For these reasons, vote for Trump. Hello and welcome back to another episode of America Today. I am here with President Donald Trump, and today we'll be discussing some of his economic policies for his campaign. So, my first question for you, Mr. Trump, is how have your past actions benefited our economy during your presidency?
Well, for starters, when I cut taxes in the beginning of my presidency, it allowed companies to bring back foreign earnings back to our country to fund investment, increase wages, and return them to shareholders for other uses. And not to mention, it encouraged businesses to invest to create more jobs.
Well, how has that changed the economy?
Well, the economy has grown more than 3% during my presidency. And the unemployment rate fell from 4.7, which might I say the Democrats said was the cap, to 3.5%, and declined even as the number of people working increased.
So would you say that you could fix what COVID did to our economy?
I understand that COVID has ravaged our economy, but I can guarantee I can prompt the economy to grow far greater than it was before COVID. Frankly, I am America's best bet, and I will fight for the good of our people.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Trump. Of course.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
They're not people, these are animals.
By 2021, Trump will have reduced legal immigration by 49% since becoming president, without any change in U.S. immigration law. Limiting legal immigration will affect America's economic growth and future labor force. The average annual labor force growth, a key component of the nation's economic growth, will be approximately 59% lower as a result of Trump's immigration policies. This majorly affects people seeking opportunity and a better life for their family and for their futures. Trump's policies are tightening asylum standards. The new asylum standards make it difficult for those fleeing persecution to be approved if they receive a hearing. This leaves people in danger. Will their families be able to safely sleep at night? Trump's policies seek to lower trafficking, drug smuggling, illegal immigration, and more with the building of the widely known and controversial wall. However, smuggling items are brought through illegal ports of entry and could even be brought by ships at sea. Even traffickers have climbed the wall, dug under the wall, or bore straight through it. So many question the benefits, effectiveness, and safety the wall provides. Trump's administration has waived more than 35 federal laws to fast-track the construction of the wall, including the Endangered Species Act and National Environment Protection Act.
The building of the wall not only has disastrous environmental consequences, but many believe it also sends the wrong message about and to immigrants. For these reasons, you should not vote for Trump.